projected 35% revenue decline in automotive construction and aerospace sectors by Q2 2025, competitive strategies from EU and China in response to US tariff implementation. Overview. The economic landscape for the automotive construction and aerospace sectors is set to experience a significant downturn, with projections indicating a revenue decline of 35% by Q2 2025. This downturn is largely attributed to the U.S. tariff policies implemented during the Trump administration, which have created ripple effects throughout global supply chains and market dynamics. In response, industry players in the European Union, EU, and China are formulating competitive strategies to mitigate the impact of these tariffs and sustain their market positions. Revenue projections and sector impacts. The introduction of tariffs on various imports, particularly in the automotive sector, has led to increased costs for manufacturers. Analysts forecast that these costs will culminate in a substantial revenue decline by mid-2025. The construction and aerospace sectors are also expected to feel the pinch, as these industries rely heavily on imported materials and components. As a result, stakeholders are preparing for an economic downturn, with many companies reporting already diminished profit margins due to escalated expenses. Competitive strategies from the EU and China. To counteract the adverse effects of U.S. tariffs, companies in the EU and China are adopting a variety of strategic measures. 1. Diversifying supply chains. Businesses are seeking to reduce their reliance on U.S. suppliers by sourcing materials and components from alternative markets. This strategy not only minimizes exposure to tariffs but also enhances supply chain resilience. 2. Increasing local production. Many firms are investing in domestic manufacturing capabilities to bypass tariffs on imports. This shift not only helps in mitigating cost increases but also aligns with local governmental incentives promoting domestic production. 3. Investing in research and development. The focus on innovation is paramount. Companies are channeling resources into R&D to improve product offerings, particularly in the automotive sector, where there is a growing emphasis on electric and hybrid vehicles. 4. Sustainability initiatives. The EU in particular is placing a strong emphasis on sustainability within its automotive sector. By enhancing technology and adopting environmentally friendly practices, European manufacturers aim to not only recover lost revenue but also position themselves advantageously in a market increasingly driven by sustainability. Key common points. The overarching theme across various analyses is the anticipated economic strain due to U.S. tariffs. Both the automotive and aerospace industries are highlighted as particularly vulnerable. There is a consensus that strategic adaptations are necessary for EU and Chinese companies to navigate these turbulent waters. A focus on innovation and market diversification is essential to weather the storm and emerge stronger. Differences between sources. While many sources highlight the immediate financial impacts of tariffs, others delve into long-term strategic shifts. Some reports provide detailed case studies from specific sectors, while others focus on broader economic implications without in-depth examples. This diversity of perspectives enriches the understanding of the complex interplay between tariffs and industry responses. Timeline of events. 2018, the U.S. government introduces tariffs targeting various imports, significantly impacting the automotive sector. 2019 to 2020, initial industry responses emerge, with companies reporting increased costs and reduced profit margins. 2021 to 2022, companies accelerate efforts to localize supply chains and invest in technology aiming to decrease dependence on U.S. markets. 2023 to 2025, projections indicate a significant revenue decline by Q2 2025, leading to urgent strategic re-evaluations among affected industries. Conclusion. The projected 35% revenue decline across the automotive, construction, and aerospace sectors by Q2 2025 serves as a critical warning for industry players. The responses from EU and Chinese firms highlight a proactive approach to countering the negative effects of US tariffs, emphasizing innovation and market diversification. As the global economic landscape continues to evolve, adaptive strategies will be key for companies aiming to maintain competitiveness in an increasingly challenging environment. The projected 35% revenue decline in the automotive, construction, and aerospace sectors by Q2 2025 presents several counterintuitive insights that challenge conventional thinking about the impact of tariffs and competitive strategies in global markets. Here are some of the key counterintuitive points derived from the content. 1. Innovation as a response to adversity. While one might assume that tariffs would lead to a contraction in innovation due to financial strain, the findings suggest that EU and Chinese companies are responding to these challenges by increasing investment in research and development. This indicates that adversity can catalyze innovation and strategic shifts rather than stifle them. 2. Diversification versus dependence. The expectation might be that companies heavily reliant on US markets would struggle to adapt. However, the data indicates that firms in the EU and China are proactively diversifying their supply chains and production strategies, suggesting that companies can pivot successfully in response to external pressures rather than being hampered by them. 3. Focus on sustainability amid economic decline. A common assumption in economic downturns is that sustainability initiatives might be sidelined due to budget constraints. Contrarily, the EU's focus on enhancing automotive technology and sustainability initiatives amidst declining revenues suggests a long-term vision that prioritizes environmental concerns even in challenging economic times. For a misalignment of immediate and long-term strategies, some analyses emphasize the immediate financial impacts of tariffs while others highlight long-term strategic adaptations. This divergence implies that companies may need to balance short-term survival tactics with long-term growth strategies, positing that immediate revenue loss can coexist with future-oriented investments. 5. Resilience in vulnerable sectors. The automotive and aerospace industries are identified as particularly vulnerable, yet they are simultaneously the sectors leading proactive strategic adaptations. This duality challenges the notion that vulnerability equates to passivity, as affected industries appear to be more agile in response to external pressures than anticipated. 6. Global market dynamics. The expectation might be that the U.S. tariffs would predominantly harm foreign competitors, but the findings suggest that U.S. companies are also facing increased costs and competitive pressures. This challenges the narrative that tariffs universally protect domestic industries, highlighting a more complex interplay of global market dynamics. 7. Potential for new market exploration. The anticipated revenue decline could be seen as a purely negative outcome. However, the emphasis on exploring new markets beyond the U.S. indicates that crises can prompt companies to seek out and identify new growth opportunities, suggesting a more optimistic outlook on market expansion in the face of adversity. 8. The role of policy in shaping industry futures. The analysis underscores the idea that policy decisions like tariffs can have far-reaching implications that extend beyond immediate economic impacts. The proactive measures taken by companies in response to these policies suggest that businesses can shape their futures in ways that counteract governmental actions, highlighting the agency of companies in navigating regulatory landscapes. These counterintuitive insights demonstrate that while the economic landscape may present significant challenges, the responses from companies can lead to innovative strategies, diversification, and a renewed focus on sustainability, ultimately reshaping the industry dynamics in unforeseen ways. The report on the projected 35% revenue decline in the automotive, construction, and aerospace sectors by Q2 2025 due to U.S. tariff implementations provides a comprehensive overview of the current economic landscape. While the main findings highlight the anticipated economic downturn and strategic adaptations by companies in the EU and China, certain important content may be overlooked by many readers. Overlooked content and its significance. 1. Long-term versus short-term effects. Many analyses focus predominantly on the immediate financial impacts of tariffs, neglecting the potential long-term implications for global supply chains and industry evolution. The significance lies in understanding that while the immediate revenue decline is alarming, the long-term adaptation strategies could redefine competitive landscapes. Businesses that invest in innovation and diversify their markets will not only survive but may emerge stronger, potentially altering their market positions permanently. 2. Innovation as a response. The report indicates that EU and Chinese firms are increasing investments in research and development. This strategic shift toward innovation, especially in automotive technology and sustainability, could lead to breakthroughs that redefine industry standards. For instance, the emphasis on electric vehicles reflects a significant pivot not just to comply with regulations but to capitalize on evolving consumer preferences. Ignoring this aspect could lead stakeholders to overlook opportunities for growth in emerging sectors. 3. Geopolitical dynamics. The geopolitical context surrounding U.S. tariffs and the responses from the EU and China is crucial. The trade tensions may catalyze shifts in alliances and partnerships that could have lasting effects on global trade dynamics. Understanding these geopolitical nuances is significant, as it shapes how industries align themselves in the face of adversity and could influence future trade policies. 4. Sector-specific vulnerabilities. The report highlights the automotive and aerospace industries as particularly vulnerable but does not delve deeply into the nuances within these sectors. For example, specific subsectors like electric vehicle manufacturing may experience different impacts compared to traditional automotive manufacturing. Recognizing these distinctions is vital as it can inform targeted strategies for mitigation and investment, allowing companies to focus their resources where they can be most effective. 5. Impact on employment. While the report discusses financial metrics and strategic pivots, it downplays the human element, specifically the impact on jobs within these sectors. A 35% revenue decline could lead to significant job losses, which would have broader social implications. Understanding the potential workforce displacement and the necessary risk-killing initiatives is essential for policymakers and business leaders to create effective responses that ensure workforce stability. 6. Emergence of new markets. The report suggests that EU and Chinese companies are exploring markets beyond the US, but it does not detail which markets are emerging or how companies plan to penetrate them. The significance of identifying these new markets lies in the opportunities they present for growth and diversification. For instance, Southeast Asia and Africa are becoming increasingly attractive due to their growing consumer bases. Ignoring this trend could mean missing out on potential revenue streams that could offset losses from the US market. 7. Technological integration. The emphasis on local production and supply chain diversification may lead to increased technological integration within EU and Chinese companies. However, the report does not explore the implications of Industry 4.0 technologies such as IoT, AI, and automation on these sectors. The significance of this integration cannot be understated, as it could enhance efficiency, reduce costs, and improve product offerings, further enabling companies to compete in a challenging environment. 8. Sustainability initiatives. The report mentions the EU's focus on sustainability, particularly in the automotive sector. However, it fails to elaborate on how these sustainability initiatives could reshape consumer preferences and regulatory environments. The significance here lies in the potential for companies that prioritize sustainability to gain a competitive edge in a market that increasingly values environmental responsibility. Failing to recognize this trend could lead to strategic misalignments. 9. Role of government policy. While the focus is on the tariffs imposed by the US, the report might overlook how EU and Chinese governments are responding to support their industries. Government policies, such as subsidies for local manufacturing or incentives for R&D, could play a crucial role in mitigating the impact of tariffs. Understanding these policies is significant as they can dictate the pace and success of industry adaptation. 10. Consumer behavior changes. The report discusses the economic impact on industries but does not delve into how consumer behavior might shift as a result of these changes. A decline in revenue could lead to increased prices for consumers, which may alter purchasing decisions, especially in sectors like automotive. Understanding these shifts in consumer behavior is significant for businesses as they develop marketing and sales strategies in a transforming market landscape. Conclusion: the projected revenue decline in the automotive, construction, and aerospace sectors presents a multifaceted challenge that extends beyond immediate financial impacts. The overlooked content within the report emphasizes the importance of long-term strategic planning, innovation, and understanding the broader implications of geopolitical dynamics, technological advancements, and consumer behavior. Recognizing these significant factors can enable industry players to navigate the turbulent waters ahead more effectively and capitalize on emerging opportunities in a changing global economy. 1. Projected revenue decline and economic impact. The anticipated 35% revenue decline across the automotive, construction, and aerospace sectors by Q2 2025 is a significant indicator of the economic challenges posed by U.S. tariffs. This decline is largely due to increased costs associated with tariffs on imported goods, which will likely ripple through these industries. The extent of this decline necessitates urgent attention from industry stakeholders to mitigate potential losses through strategic planning and adaptation. 2. Competitive strategies from EU and China. In response to the tariffs, companies in the EU and China are implementing a range of competitive strategies. These include diversifying supply chains to reduce dependency on U.S. imports, enhancing local production capabilities, and increasing investment in research and development. Particularly, the EU's focus on automotive technology and sustainability initiatives represents a proactive approach not only to recover lost revenue but also to position itself favorably in the growing electric vehicle market. 3. Innovation and market diversification. Both EU and Chinese firms recognize the necessity of innovation and exploration of new markets as essential strategies to withstand the economic pressures from U.S. tariffs. By fostering innovation, these companies can improve product offerings and potentially capture market share in regions less affected by tariffs. The emphasis on adapting business models to focus on sustainability also aligns with global trends toward environmental responsibility, which could further enhance competitiveness. For long-term strategic adaptations versus immediate financial impacts, there is a notable divergence in perspectives among sources regarding the impact of tariffs. Some sources focus on the immediate financial ramifications, emphasizing the losses and cost increases faced by companies. In contrast, others highlight the long-term strategic shifts that may arise from these challenges, such as increased innovation and market exploration. This difference in focus suggests that while the current situation is dire, it may also catalyze necessary adaptations in the industry, leading to a more resilient economic landscape in the future. 1. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930. This piece of legislation significantly raised tariffs on hundreds of imports in an attempt to protect American industries during the Great Depression. The impacts were severe, leading to retaliatory tariffs from other countries, which exacerbated the global economic downturn. The automotive and agricultural sectors faced particular challenges with revenue declines and reduced international trade, highlighting the ripple effects of protective tariffs on domestic and global economies. 2. The trade war between the U.S. and China 2018-present. Beginning in 2018, the U.S. implemented tariffs on Chinese imports, leading to a series of retaliatory measures from China. The automotive and technology sectors were significantly affected, with companies on both sides of the Pacific adjusting their strategies to cope with increased costs and disrupted supply chains. This trade war forced many organizations to diversify their markets and production locations, similar to the current strategies being adopted by EU and Chinese firms in response to U.S. tariffs. 3. European steel tariffs 2018. In response to U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, the EU implemented its own tariffs on a range of U.S. products. This move aimed to protect European industries but resulted in increased costs for construction and automotive sectors that relied on these materials. The situation prompted companies to seek alternative suppliers and adjust their business models, mirroring the current adjustments being made in anticipation of the projected revenue decline in the automotive, construction, and aerospace sectors. Future outlook, projections, and competitive strategies in response to U.S. tariffs. Overview. As we look toward the future, particularly the period leading up to Q2 2025, the automotive, construction, and aerospace sectors are poised for significant challenges marked by a projected revenue decline of 35%. This downturn is primarily driven by the ramifications of U.S. tariffs enacted during the Trump administration, which have disrupted traditional supply chains and raised operational costs. In response, strategic adaptations from the European Union, EU, and China are expected to reshape the competitive landscape. Projected revenue declines and sector impacts. Automotive sector. The automotive industry is anticipated to face the brunt of the revenue decline, with tariffs increasing the cost of imported parts and materials. Manufacturers are struggling to maintain profit margins. The shift toward electric vehicles (EVs) presents both a challenge and an opportunity as companies must navigate the transition while dealing with higher costs. Construction sector. The construction industry will also experience significant revenue drops driven by increased material costs due to tariffs. This sector's recovery is contingent upon infrastructure spending, which may be hampered by economic uncertainties and budget constraints. Aerospace sector. The aerospace industry faces unique challenges as tariffs affect both the supply of critical components and the ability to compete in international markets. The reliance on global supply chains makes this sector particularly vulnerable to tariff-related disruptions. Competitive strategies from EU and China. To combat these challenges, companies in the EU and China are implementing several key strategies. 1. Diversifying supply chains. Firms are actively seeking to reduce dependence on U.S. suppliers by sourcing materials and components from alternative markets. This strategy not only mitigates tariff impacts but also enhances resilience against future trade disruptions. 2. Increasing local production. Both EU and Chinese manufacturers are ramping up local production capabilities. By investing in domestic facilities, companies can lower costs associated with tariffs and improve their competitive positioning in their home markets. 3. Investing in research and development. Innovation is a critical focus as firms aim to enhance product offerings. Investment in R&D, particularly in sustainable technologies and advanced manufacturing processes, positions companies to capture emerging market trends such as the shift towards electric and autonomous vehicles. 4. Exploring new markets. Companies are looking beyond the U.S. market, targeting growth opportunities in emerging economies. This strategic pivot not only diversifies revenue streams but also reduces exposure to U.S. tariff risks. 5. Sustainability initiatives. The EU in particular is prioritizing sustainability as a competitive advantage. By aligning with global environmental standards and consumer preferences for greener technologies, EU firms aim to differentiate themselves in the automotive and construction sectors. Long-term projections and adaptations. As we approach 2025, the long-term outlook remains contingent on several factors. Economic recovery. The speed and sustainability of economic recovery from the pandemic will influence demand across all sectors. A robust recovery could mitigate some revenue losses, while a prolonged downturn could exacerbate challenges. Political landscape. Changes in U.S. trade policy, particularly post-2024 elections, could lead to significant shifts in tariff regimes, impacting the strategic responses of EU and Chinese firms. Technological advancements. Continued advancements in technology will play a crucial role in shaping industry dynamics. Firms that successfully integrate new technologies into their operations are likely to achieve competitive advantages. Consumer preferences. Evolving consumer preferences for sustainability and innovation will drive companies to adapt their product offerings and marketing strategies accordingly. Conclusion. The projected revenue decline of 35% in the automotive, construction, and aerospace sectors by Q2 2025 underscores a critical period of transformation for these industries. The proactive strategies adopted by EU and Chinese firms illustrate a dynamic response to the challenges posed by US tariffs. By diversifying supply chains, increasing local production, investing in R&D, and prioritizing sustainability, these companies are positioning themselves to not only weather the storm but also emerge stronger in a competitive global market. As the landscape evolves, the ability to adapt and innovate will be paramount for success in the coming years.